I appreciate you coming on. You have a pretty wild story. I know you just went on Taiki stream. I'm gonna be honest. I like intentionally didn't really listen to it because I wanted to keep this fresh and come at
Yeah,
it
bet.
from a fresh mindset. But how was that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it went pretty well. Overall, I feel like definitely some stuff I could have done better on. I mean, first, definitely like long form content I've really ever done. And definitely was a lot of other stories that could have like gone deeper on for sure.
What do you think you didn't do well on so I can hit it? Or maybe we could just start.
Um, yeah, I mean, overall, I think like some of the presentation regarding some of the topics I definitely could have done better on. But in terms of like overall like story of it, I mean, I did an okay job. I feel like.
Well, look, it is your story, so I don't think you can really do a bad job of it. But that's awesome. Dude, welcome to the stream. I appreciate you coming on once again. Do you want to start with just give us a quick intro into who you are, and then we can get into the weeds on some of this stuff?
Yeah, of course, man. So I started off in DeFi with around $5,000. I actually found DeFi through a TikTok about Wonderland Time like some years ago. Pretty much like it was after the whole Olympus DAO craze kind of died down, and it was like an old TikTok that I found from like some dumb course trading guru type guy, and pretty much like joined the Discord and pretty much was like kind of joining it to make fun of people for buying into like a pretty blatant Ponzi scheme. And then I realized that there was like pretty heavy value disconnects between a lot of like the treasuries regarding a lot of like the Olympus DAO forks and the values that they were like, basically trading out on market. So pretty much kind of went like an activist investor route and really tried to find ones that were very undervalued and figure out ways of like capturing that like spread between like the treasury value and the value that they traded at effectively. So that was kind of like what got me started off in DeFi overall.
So you found it on TikTok? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
How's that even possible? How many? I mean, that's insane. How's that even possible?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I was just scrolling and it popped up on my this random dude popped up on my For You page. So I was like checking out his videos because I'm like, oh damn, this dude's like retarded as shit. He's like a course guru grifter guy. So I
Uh-huh.
was just checking out his content, found that, and yeah, pretty much was kind of interested by it. Joined the Discord to basically just like fuck around, make fun of people for buying into like a Ponzi scheme, and yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a start of like everything from that pretty much.
Okay, so you show up in crypto and your first play is you're like arbitraging DeFi protocols. I mean, I don't think that's what most people are doing day one in crypto. Like what's your background? Like how do you even have the context to be able to think like that?
Yeah, so I pretty much I went to college when I was like 15. I mean, I've always been very into
Huh?
like finance and stuff like that. Got out when I was like 17 or so. And basically like just always have been very into finance, like pretty much like entirely self-taught on everything. And I mean, I consider myself to be like a pretty heavy like value investor to some extent. So pretty much I would like look and try to buy like basically it's like if I were to find something like that was trading like 3x what its par value was as a stock, basically like there's not many stocks like that. But at the time there was quite a lot of like different DAO slash like crypto assets that were effectively like trading like that, with big, very heavy value disconnects, and a lot of money to be made based like around that kind of concept there. And that's basically what got me like started off with everything.
By the way, I thought you were gonna be a bad bitch based off your PFP. But wait,
Yeah, no, dude. Sorry to let you down. I'm not a bad bitch, bro.
what do you mean you went to college when you were 15? What does that even mean?
Yeah, I just like went to it was pretty much like a community college. I just went like pretty early, basically,
Why?
and then got out. Um, I don't know. Not really a specific reason. Like, yeah.
Do you like did you need to go to college? Do you think it was worth your time?
Um, So I actually didn't go for like a 4 year degree. I mean, I would basically like reason for that being is basically like the cost of going into debt for college for like most degrees, like versus the cost of just like grinding out minimum wage and then investing the difference, like really didn't make sense. And like, I got accepted to some like pretty decent like colleges, but ended up deciding on like not going, for like a 4 year that is. But yeah, I would say like going to like college over going to high school was definitely very worth it. Like it was like super stimulating and in general like I mean I was very bored in school to be a blunt. Like I would like I mean obviously I would use like Chegg and shit like that and like fuck around with that stuff and what's it called? But yeah, I mean, in general, like it was definitely like way better than like honestly going to like regular high school. Like a lot better like parties and stuff too.
What was your first experience with markets?
Yeah, so overall, like first experience with markets was like pretty much. I mean, I put like a good amount of money from like my first ever job into Bitcoin. Like I mean, relatively early. Like I knew what it was for years. But I didn't really like take action on it. But after my first job, I put a good decent amount into Bitcoin a while back. Wrote it up. I made like around 10K from that off of like initial like 2.5K or something, and then I sold half of it, bought ETH with the other half, and bought a car with the other half. It's my first car, and basically like just held that ETH for a bit on like Coinbase or whatever. Uh, I unfortunately staked it, so like I wrote it up and wrote it down a bit. Eventually, ended up like selling like a little bit over break even. But time cost wasn't really worth it there. But pretty much like took all my money from like one of my jobs. I did phone repair actually.
No way.
Basically took all the money from doing phone repair and started off in crypto with that.
Like you were fixing broken screens or like the insides of phones not working?
Both. I would work at the mall, fix like screens, insides of phones, iPads, like everything.
Dude, you might have worked on one of my phones.
I mean, maybe honestly, dude. But I mean, I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing this, but like, I mean, I was from like East Coast area.
I was too. I'm from Virginia.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, different place then.
Okay.
Yeah, initially from a little bit north of there.
Word. Okay. So you had some touch points with Bitcoin. You made a little money in Bitcoin. You did well in Bitcoin. Bought a car, and then you find crypto on TikTok, which is a movie, by the
Yeah,
way.
pretty much like DeFi. Yeah, and that was like kind of it was after like everything had already like pretty much died off. So it was like shit was just like tanking repeatedly throughout the whole time period. So I kind of built up everything like during the bear market overall.
Like
Um,
what
yeah,
year?
that's like roughly like late 2021, I want to
Okay, okay,
say.
okay. Like 2022 kind of thing. Yeah, late 2021.
Yeah, it's been like roughly around like 4 years since I started now.
What was your first real entrance into crypto? Like when did you make your first money in DeFi that wasn't from, your initial Bitcoin purchases?
Yeah, I mean, like around that time, that's roughly when I bought Bitcoin earlier. I had like my parents like set me up with like an account or whatever on like Coinbase and stuff like that, and I just bought it under there. Obviously, I didn't know Coinbase. I mean, I was a kid at the time, didn't know Coinbase really like raped you on the fees and stuff. And yeah, I'm bullish Kraken. This is a Kraken shill. My bags.
Yeah, Kraken should sponsor the stream.
Oh, actually, yeah,
They
dude, that's
should, they
great.
should. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they should.
super shill on Kraken. Then I hold equity of it.
Well, that's a movie. I don't even, yeah, okay, that's awesome. So what? Okay, so with your entrance in DeFi, when you started like, you make it into crypto from TikTok, like really make it into crypto. Where did you find your first opportunity to make money, like in the trenches, on chain?
Yeah, I mean, again, it was like kind of like the Olympus Dow type stuff. Basically, would like find. I mean, I've traded probably like 50 to 100 different of these like value type of trades. I had no idea on the exact amount, but basically, I would try to find ones where I would use. I remember at one point there was like this one site called FOHM.io or something, like FOMO, but it was like for Olympus Dow forks, and basically it would list out a lot of the statistics regarding like Olympus Dow forks and stuff like that. So that was specifically like what I would look at, and pretty much I would do research. I would look at the treasury values. I would look at the liquidity pool amount, and I would look at the disconnects between like what it's trading at and such, and like on a lot of them, for example, like there was like very high like rebase APR and like very high like liquidity pools. And when they would get oversold, pretty much it would be effectively like free money because people would dump all their tokens. The token would be rebasing, and there would be like liquidity to basically get out, and they'd be rebasing at usually a very high rate, like the 10 billion% APR type stuff, whatever,
Oh.
from back then. So I mean, that's like trading a lot of those and kind of being in the trenches on like Olympus Dow forks, basically. Like after they were already dead, kind of like value buying them to some extent and trading around that. That's kind of what got me from like 5K to like roughly, I want to say like 120K ish, and around 120K ish. That's when I first got hired to market neutral fund, and I was running like a 50 mil book there.
Whoa. I
Because
mean,
obviously I was like market neutral farming like during that period as well when not in trades, because like in my opinion, like the biggest opportunity that crypto really provides is just like the ability for retail to generate like very good market neutral returns. Whereas in like TradFi, it's like, I mean, it's like there's like bond funds and stuff,
Uh,
sure, like paying like 5-10% range or private. I mean, retail doesn't really have access to private credit funds for the most part, but the biggest advantage of that crypto provides is basically retail accessibility to like very very insane like market neutral yields while maintaining full liquidity on that.
so this is a little bit nuts because I mean, dude, I've interviewed quite a few people that have, turned similar returns to your portfolio, which is ridiculous, by the way. 5K to 3 mil, I think, is your pin tweet.
Yeah, I
Congratulations.
mean, it's at around 10 now, a little bit over.
Wait, say that again.
It's a little bit over 10 now.
5K to
That was
to
uh that
10
was like
mil.
yeah, that was like roughly like around last year when that tweet was up, I believe. I just have kind of have that pin, so it's like people when they see my profile, they kind of get like an idea of like the overall like storyline of it.
So you went from five. I was gonna ask you a question, but you went from 5K to 10 mil in what time frame? Three
Like
years?
roughly 4 years, and I've never actually had like a month over month drawdown on any funds managed or personal funds.
You've never had a month over month drawdown ever.
No.
What was your worst month ever?
I actually don't know. I mean, there's been a couple months where I've been like close to break even, but like slightly in profit. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know to be honest. Like, I'm not 100%. But there's been a couple that I've been like just barely in profit on.
Whoa. What was your best month? I don't want I want to start even. What was your best month ever?
Um, Probably like 2 months ago, or like 1 to 2 months ago range. I basically like put like most of what I had liquid into pre-IPO Kraken. Outside of Stream, obviously, I have like roughly 5 mil of personal capital in Stream. Um, which Stream is basically like a DeFi protocol that I own. Effectively, it's like a market neutral fund
Oh,
on
okay.
chain, made easy for retail, where users can deposit ETH, BTC, or euros or USD, and basically it's like market neutral return, made easy and simple for retail, tokenized with DeFi integrations built out on top of it.
Okay. And what were
Um,
go ahead.
yeah, no, you got it.
I was gonna say what were the returns on the Kraken trade?
Yeah, so basically, like, I mean, I'm still holding like pretty much all of it, but on paper at least, I'm up like quite considerably. I mean, it's probably around like 2.5 mil or so,
Whoa.
somewhere around that. I mean, and then like I also like in that same time period, I white hatted like a $23 million exploit, so I got a decent bug bounty for that as well.
Okay. We'll come back to that one. I want to. Okay. So the reason this is kind of fascinating a little bit is again a lot. I've maybe not as many people that went from 5K to 10 mil, but there's a decent amount of people that have gone 5K to seven figures. It's you hear
Yeah,
it.
no, definitely, dude.
And but the reason
There's
but the reason it's interesting is that most people that do this are have a completely different method, especially in 2024. It was
Yes,
like
yeah. Very different method, very different risk tolerance
grinding,
overall.
correct, grinding
Yeah,
photon, grinding axiom, grinding new pairs, grinding AI coins, and these like massive hero traits. Can you just even break down what is a market neutral farm? Like what break down what the concept is and what your trading strategy and style is.
yeah. I mean, so when you're market neutral, you're not necessarily like trading per se. It's more so taking the casino side to basically the crypto market as a whole. Basically, you're providing liquidity for traders to take different trades, and you're effectively being paid for doing so. It's kind of like the breakdown of like in principle like what overall market neutral return is. Obviously, there's various like ways of doing so, various different like methods of doing so. There's like yeah, I mean there's quite a lot. There's like obviously like there's like the lending aspect of things. There's like liquidity provision, private liquidity deals, market making, HFT. There's many different ways of like generating like market neutral like returns overall. um and I mean, yeah.
Thank you. And okay, so I kind of want to go by like break down each level of your port leveling up. You kind of touched on it already, so if you are kind of like I already talked about this, we can move on. But what was the big play or the focus from I think you said 5K to 120 when you like made it to six figures? Like how long did it take, and what was your breakthrough literally in the markets, or like a mental breakthrough that allowed you to get there?
Yeah, I mean, like that part was honestly like, I mean, that took me about like, I want to say like, I don't, to be honest, I don't remember the exact time, but it was around like 6 months to a year during that time period. And yeah, basically, yeah, that was the trenches for sure. It's like you'd have to like look on a lot of like the scanners and stuff, like talk to a lot of the teams, figure out like what's going on, who's committing fraud, who's not, figure out what um like what the metrics look like, what the treasury values look like, what's going on the underlying. You have to do a lot of research for this type of things in general. I mean, anything in crypto, you really have to do like the max possible amount of like research slash DD on in order for you to like really feel comfortable like putting your money in. I feel like and yeah, I mean, I would basically like as a lot of the Solana people would call it, I was in the trenches on this stuff.
And so once you it took 6 months to a year, you hit 120K, which is a pretty. I mean, most people can't even get there from 5K. That's a pretty substantial size up. How did your
Yeah, definitely.
style and focus change once you hit six figures for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it really didn't change. My whole focus is just about like maximizing like risk return while minimizing drawdowns in general. And yeah, I mean, I would say that my focus like overall like actually really didn't change at all from even being at like 10K to where it is now.
Mhm.
Like I'm basically doing like the same concept, and I've basically consistently stuck with that concept because that's pretty much like where my edge lies, and I feel like that's if you look at any sample group of traders, like between say like people that trade meme coins, people that provide liquidity, like and I mean just in general, like if you look at like active traders versus like liquidity providers, like if you look at like basically like say like the mean or median of the sample group, then I think you'd find that like liquidity providers tend to like average better returns annualized, but traders obviously are going to have like a very large and wider variance in terms of like people that make a fuck ton of money and people that lose a fuck ton of money.
So I want to ask you this kind of again. You kind of already. I don't want to make you repeat yourself, but you kind of touched on it.
Yeah, of course.
What does it mean to be a liquidity provider? Because I think most people get into crypto, especially the younger. I mean, I'm 23. We're probably fairly close in age, and you see,
Yeah, dude, I'm 22 as well.
yeah,
So
it's
yeah.
wild. You've more money, a lot more money than me. But you, you get into crypto, and you think like you. It's kind of like you get into poker, and you build up like the hero call. You know, in crypto, people think trader. It's how you make money, right? You either get a job or you make the hero trade, the god trade. What does it really
Yeah.
mean to be like an LP, liquidity provider, and be this take this market neutral strategy? Like, how could somebody start doing that right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's in part that's part of the reason why I launched like Stream. Basically just so like retail would have access to be able to do that without necessarily having to do like all the active maintenance work that's really required in doing so. Basically, just makes it super easy for retail to be able to like do that at one click without necessarily having to like take on a lot of the risk and manage a lot of that stuff themselves.
Word. Okay, so then how did you go from six figures, 120K to seven figures for the first time?
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest thing that I mean, this is technically what I consider to be like my quote unquote hero trade to some extent. Obviously, like I had some trades that took me up to, I mean, basically around like 120K to 250K, which is consistent like farming, kind of repeating the same trading strategy. At 120K was like roughly where I got hired to like basically manage that fund. Super underpaid. Started off as like an intern, but within the first week I was managing like a 50 mil book just because like um, yeah, like pretty yeah. Um, but basically from 250K or so, like around that was basically when I found this airdrop. It was a super underfarmed airdrop. Basically, it was something called the dog airdrop, and what you had to do is you had to create these AI generated dog NFTs on base chain. And it was by titles and own the Doge. Basically, this like dog meme coin type thing, and like they own like the original Doge
I
NFT or
know own the
whatever.
Doge. Yeah, yeah, okay. It's Path, right?
Yeah. So
Cryptopathic. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So pretty much like they were doing like an airdrop basically for people that created these AI generated dog images
Uh huh.
on this platform called Titles, right? And basically, like I calculated that there was a very large spread in terms of like the cost to like create these NFTs and the cost and the amount that was being airdropped, and like I had to like read through the docs to find this thing. It was like nobody was farming this airdrop basically. I had to read through the docs to find this thing. Like nobody was farming it. Um, and in general was like very very obscure airdrop pretty much. And basically I got together a bunch of like high school, college kids, and some foreigners, and basically like in the span of like a week or two, we pretty much grinded out like roughly 13,000 wallets. And basically, the cost per wallet was around $2, and the ROI per wallet was around like $30. And we ended up making like 400K in the span of like a 1 to 2 week period there, pretty much. And then I paid them out like roughly 30% of that, and we all went to Rolling Loud in Miami last year, actually.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, dude, it was a massive, massive cook. And then from that basically around that time was kind of when like Aerodrome was taking off, and basically Coinbase was like hard bidding Aerodrome. So pretty much like there was there's something called bribe efficiency, and what that is basically there's a spread between the amount of like basically fees
Efficiency.
slash money that a protocol can put in and the amount of like reward tokens that they receive out effectively.
Okay.
So if a protocol at the time, if a protocol put in $1 of incentives into Arrow, then they would receive $3 of Arrow tokens back. So pretty much during this time period is when like that spread was at its largest, and basically, I rotated a lot of that capital into basically like kind of figuring out ways of capitalizing on that spread, and I bought up a lot of like Arrow beta tokens, and I would kind of go like an activist investor route and like basically set up like leverage on those tokens to like extrafy Taro. Um, Basically like I would figure out ways of like buying these like tokens and playing that like bribe efficiency to some extent. And
Bribe efficiency.
actually, I owned 2% of the virtual supply at one point as well.
No.
Yes, sir.
At what
Back when
market
it was
cap?
like I sold it. I mean, like 10 mil or something. Like I sold it all like at like a 20 or 30% gain or something. So big fumble there. I mean, I have quite a lot of those just because I'm like, dude, this thing's so overvalued. Like, how why is it pumping? And yeah, I dumped everything. Just because like at one point it was like one of those like farming beta type of tokens. So I was basically like farming that, and yeah, so I was like basically buying up a lot of these Arrow beta tokens, market neutral farming on Arrow. I was sniping a lot of the like extra fi borrow, so I was printing like thousands of percentages of APR, totally market neutral on that. On like quite high size. Like at one point, like on like a 1 mil port size, I was making like 30K a day or something ridiculous. It was pretty wild. But
All right.
yeah, I mean that's like that got me from like after the Doge airdrop up to like
A mill.
around like 2 mil-ish.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Like yeah, but just basically playing that like super super hard, and then from there just basically being like consistent on farming.
All right. Wait. Wait.
Didn't
Wait.
really,
Wait. No, there's too much. I know what you were going back. Sorry, we're going back.
yeah, no, of
Uh,
course, dude. Yeah,
dude, what the fuck, man? First of all, the okay, I want to go like one by one. By the way, sorry about the virtuals, man. Sorry for making a face. That's just a
yeah. I
tough
mean,
one,
dude, it's
dude. I'm
like
sorry.
there's so many fumbles that I've had that are like very similar, where I'm like, oh, this thing's overvalued. I should sell
Ugh.
it all, and like the thing goes up like 10x. Like there's
Okay,
like there's quite a lot of fumbles that I have like
I
that, but
believe
it's
it.
like at the same time there's a reason that I have like very little like drawdowns and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
because like I tend to just like not try to like speculate on price and just capitalize on whatever edge that I have.
So first is fascinating story on the airdrop. I mean, you know what's funny, man, is that I think a lot of people come into crypto and they're like, "Oh, it's 2025. It's the age of AI. There's no inefficiencies in the market. Everything's accounted for. There's no way to find edge anymore." And that's just like objectively not true. That is such a fun story because it isn't like, you know, the idea of the hero trade being glorified is a weird phenomenon because a lot of people don't make it that way. Like they don't make it from the hero trade. And
Yeah,
the idea that you only can make it from the hero trade makes people think they need a ridiculous amount of money to make money and that they have to hit this like genius trade that they'll never be able to conceive. And I think it demoralizes a lot of people to think that that's the only way to make it is to have the hero trade. Because you see these P&Ls and you're like, fuck, I can't, how am I gonna make 5 mil on a fucking trade? Your own the Doge airdrop story is an awesome one because theoretically anybody could have came in and done the exact same thing and they probably could have made a lot of money with not a lot of money. And the only way that you found that, like, yeah, people say there's no edge unless you're an insider. You weren't an insider. You were just fucking locked in.
No, yeah,
Do
no,
you
I wasn't an
think that
insider.
there's
I
still,
found it from the
yeah,
I found it from their Medium.
do you think there's still these inefficiencies on chain, specifically around airdrops? Like, can you still make money as an airdrop farmer in crypto in 2025?
It depends on how you approach it. A lot of airdrops are now like less so account based and more so like TVL based. So effectively, like I mean, there's like professional airdrop farming companies and stuff like that. So it's like a lot of protocols have kind of shifted in terms of like how they structure their airdrops, to be more so like basically TVL based off the amount of like TVL or the amount of like. I mean, there's some where you can have like outsized returns, obviously, and like get like good returns within like a decent period of time. But in general, like you have to do like a lot of DD, talk to the team. Like in general, I feel like basically there's diminishing edge over time as the barrier of entry for funds kind of coming on chain is like kind of like wanes pretty much. So like as that barrier of entry decreases, there's going to be more and more like institutional players looking for like these types of edges. So it's going to become more and more difficult for retail overall. Um, but I do still think that in terms of like stock market versus crypto, and in terms of like any financial market, really, I still think crypto is definitely like the place where there's the most like retail edge. If you actually like can do proper research, proper due diligence on this stuff, and actually put in the time and energy to find like these types of like outsized trades.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna interrupt part of the story because I think there's a lot of people listening that want to know this right now. You turned 5K into 8 figures. If you were starting from zero right now in crypto in 2025, how would you turn that into 8 figures? Like, what would you do?
Yeah, I mean, actually, Taiki asked me the same question actually, and
Okay.
I mean, I got a little sidetracked, but we kind of got talking to like, like the Poly Markets WNBA dildo thing.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would have basically like put money on Poly Markets on like a blue dildo being thrown or whatever, and I would have gone to the game and thrown the blue dildo.
No.
Yes, that was genuinely a very outsized risk return trade. If you didn't have capital, that was quite literally like a very easy way to make money in my opinion. Like I mean, obviously like a lot of like variables around it and a lot of like risks regarding it, but like if you had very little starting capital, then like that was a very free trade. Um but
You
obviously
wouldn't
like
have
not
thrown
really
the
worth it.
fucking dildo. You're lying.
No, I swear to God, dude. Like I've gone and visited properties IRL for like a trade based around like real estate that I did before.
Wait,
Like
explain that. What do
I
you mean?
tend to
What'd you do? What'd you do?
no, basically there was like a depegged like real estate stablecoin basically. And I mean in general like I tend to do quite a lot to like ensure the trades play out. So like I visited the properties IRL and basically like um made sure that the properties like were occupied, that they weren't like lying about it. Kind of talked to like yeah, I mean like in general I tend to like try to do what I can to ensure that like trades play out. There's like a reason why I have like very low variance in terms of like if, drawdowns if any. So like yeah, basically like I think there's a lot of like outsized trades that like you can make happen. And there's like I would do basically I would do a lot of research into things that institutional players would not necessarily do or want to take advantage of or would be too small for them to look at. And I would basically try to like find those types of small things and basically try to capitalize on the edge, quote unquote. There.
How far would you have gone to get that dildo into the game?
Oh, dude. That's a risky question there.
Ah!
But no. I would not have put it up the ass.
Do you have some time to stay on?
Yeah, of course, dude.
Can I take? I'm gonna take like I have to piss so bad. I'm drinking. I'm like a little sick. So I'm just chugging coffee. I'm back in like I'm gonna put a an ad on the screen. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, bet, bro.
All right.
Peace.
BRB. Just stay on. Stay on. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry. Thank you
Yeah, but
for appreciate it.
so kind of yeah, so
So,
kind of continuing off the last topic, there's actually somebody that did like a very very similar trade a while back. So there was basically this like course grifter guru guy named FX Alex G. Basically, he's like just like another like course selling grifter guru type guy. But basically like what he did is he bet quite a lot of money that there would be like a streaker basically at the World Cup, and then he actually went and streaked at the World Cup and made like I think like 1.5 mil off of it
oh
because
my
like he
god.
bet that he would do it, did it, and then basically like he like spray painted all over his chest like marketing materials for like his bullshit course or whatever. But like he got fined like I want to say like arrested and fined like 30K or something, just because like they wanted to like make an example out of him kind of, but like he made a lot of bank and got a lot of like exposure for his like course and shit like that. So overall, like very very crazy move, and like it definitely can be done. And it's
Okay.
like at some point, like basically betting on like the blue dildo being thrown was like a 16x, and like if you bet like 5K on that, went to the game for like a $200 ticket or whatever, threw it on the court, immediate like 80K right there.
Okay. So, first of all, man, I'm so happy you came on. It's just like a fun switch up. I
But yeah, I mean, obviously, like that's like a really weird example, but
No,
there's
it's
gonna be a lot
not.
of trades that are similar, like where institutional players don't necessarily like want to do it, but I mean, or it's too small for them to really act on, and I think there's a lot of edge in terms of stuff like that still, that exists.
Okay, so here's what I want to ask you: is I had, the guest I had on most recent that reminds me of you is I had, are you familiar with Doma? Do you know who that is?
Doma, I'm actually not familiar.
Okay, so
Do
it's
they have a
DOMAH, I think 4 H's on Twitter, and his PFP is like Studio Ghibli Ken, and he's one
oh, I bet.
of the most like one of the best prediction market traders ever, basically. And he
Got it.
trades poly markets and Kalshi and prediction markets. Basically, been betting on politics since like 2008, I think. And this is like his full
Huh.
time job. And he came on the stream, and he just talked a lot about some of he talked about this trade that one of his friends, like everyone in prediction markets has like a different edge, right? Everyone has like a different strategy,
Yeah.
and he was talking about this trade where I think they were betting on like the vice president or whatever in 2008 or 12 or whatever, and it was Sarah Palin, and
Mhm.
that was gonna run, and they were trying to figure it out, and so there was some like event IRL in Pennsylvania, I think, and they were all speaking, or they're trying to figure out who was gonna
Yeah.
speak at this event and be like nominated, and they found that there was one flight from like Alaska that was coming in on a private jet, and she like lived in Alaska or whatever. I'm butchering the story, but just the general
Huh?
idea. And so he made all these phone calls, and he figured out like Sarah Palin's in Alaska, and she's taking a jet at this time, and it's gonna land in Pennsylvania at this
Wow.
time. Like it's fucking Sarah Palin, and it was like
Yeah.
three percent.
That is edge right there.
It was like three
Yeah.
percent, and he fucking hammered it, and he was right, and it was like a huge trade. And this just thinking about this and comparing it to about some of the strategies you're talking about, it feels very similar. Like just this
Yeah.
complete
100%.
unique inefficiency that nobody else could find. And it's a long-winded setup, and I'm just curious, like, I asked Doma, I said, and I'll do one more setup, and I'm gonna ask the question: is he knew GCR 2021 before crypto? And I said,
Yeah.
Doma, like, you knew GCR before crypto. Why don't you trade crypto? And he basically said, at this point, I don't really care about money. I just like to bet on prediction markets and be right. And it was kind of like, damn, or like Iceman. My question for you is like, what motivates you as a trader? Like, why do you trade the way that you do? And what is your motivation to find these weird, unique inefficiencies and make these trades? Is it just P&L? Is it the love of the game? Like, what motivates you to trade?
No, I mean, I think the biggest thing is I just like enjoy it mostly. Like in terms of like lifestyle, like really nothing's changed. Like I still live the pretty much exact same way as I did before. And yeah, I mean, in general, I think the biggest thing is I just enjoy it. Yeah, I just enjoy. Yeah.
I can't believe
Uh,
you said the dildo thing. I mean, that's like the most insane answer. It's a fucking good one though. How do you find these weird counter signal trades that nobody else is talking about? Like, are you just always looking? You're on Polymarket. Are you looking at every market to try to find some inefficiency? Like what is your
Yeah, I mean,
process?
less so like my focus is kind of like less so on poly markets and more so just on like other similar types of trades. But in general, like yeah, at one point, like I don't know if your viewers are necessarily familiar with like DBank, but back when I didn't really have much money and stuff, like kind of like the 50 to 100K range, like I would go through like the DBank protocol list, like the entire list of like thousands of protocols, visiting every protocol, like looking for different stuff to find, like, and I would do that like once a week. I was basically like, I mean, I still am like very very locked in on this type of stuff, so it's like in general, like I think you really have to like be in the trenches doing like a lot of like research on this stuff in order to like really have like those like uh, small types of edges where you can find like very outside stuff during that time. Like in like the 5 to 100K range, it's like if I had like the knowledge kind of start. I mean, I did a lot of research before even getting started, kind of like figuring out like how everything really worked. But if I had known what I knew now back then I would definitely probably be like at least over like 50 mil.
How would you even make 50 mil in crypto? How do you make 50 mil in crypto?
There was a lot of different trades that I messed up on, a lot of trades that I missed in general.
What was your biggest fumble ever?
Uh, I mean, there's been a lot, dude. Been a lot of RFE trades that's what it's called when you're buying like discounted assets. By the way, it's like a RFE trade. There's been
What does
quite a
that
lot
stand
of
for?
those.
RFE? What does that stand for?
Like risk free value basically kind of came from like ohm forks. Like they would list their treasury on their dashboards as quote unquote like risk free value, which is like yeah. So basically, like the acronym for those types of trades are like RFE trades, where you're
RFE
buying like
trades.
discounted value, basically discounted like assets to like their NAV or par values or whatever. And yeah, a lot of traders just call that like RFE trades.
Word. So how did you go from 2 mil ish to 10 mil?
Yeah, so um, Circle was a big driver there. I made around like I bought like pre IPO Circle like roughly 1 month before they actually IPO'd. And I knew it was like a free like 2 to 3x, just based off like the valuation because I got it at, like I want to say like a roughly 5.5 billion valuation. Um, but I knew it was like a roughly like 2 to 3x of like free money just due to like basically the earning rights on like the T bills. I had no idea that it would actually do so well. But basically, I bought like pre IPO Circle like pretty hard, and I got a bunch of fun clients to buy it as well. And I think overall like net, I don't know like the exact number, but I think I sourced. I mean, some of them already had deal flow for it, obviously, but I sourced some deal flow for a lot of like fun clients as well, like regarding like pre IPO Circle. And net, I think the fun clients made like external of the fund like 15 to 20 mil on that trade or so, like in that kind of range. And I only I like I didn't make too much. I made like 2 mil granted, but like I was like heavily debating like full porting just due to like, but there was basically like I didn't know necessarily like how long the trade would take, and I didn't know if it was necessarily worth the opportunity cost of like kind of holding it, not necessarily like earning yield on it during that time period. There was just a lot of like variables basically, but it was a very very heavily skewed EV trade in general, and yeah.
Whoa. How are you getting access to these pre-IPO companies?
I mean, there's a lot of like secondary marketplaces that make it easy for retail. I think Ventuals is actually kind of bringing that on chain like very shortly.
They came on the stream.
It's
Venturals is sick.
yeah, yeah, did. I actually met them when I was up in New York, like 2 weeks ago or so. But yeah, no, like it's I think it's a great idea. It's a good product. Like if you're in retail, I think it makes a lot of sense. What's it called? Um, but yeah, there's like a lot of secondary marketplaces that make it like kind of easy for retail. For a lot of them, you do have to be an institutional investor. Um, but like there's like Hive. That's kind of like the one of the bigger ones. HIIVE.
Okay.
But yeah, Hive makes it like pretty easy to track. Like they put up like data basically around like the prices of pre-IPO markets, and basically will kind of act as like a broker slash like data provider
Huh?
for like IPO prices. And there's a lot of like very very similar like pre-IPO markets that you can kind of use for this type of stuff. Um, yeah, but like if you're buying large size, obviously you need to go through like a broker though, or buy like directly from like another counterparty.
Shout out to Counterparty. What is your personal favorite trade ever? It doesn't have to be P&L, but just like the freakiest shit you've ever did to hit a P&L trade.
Yeah, I mean, definitely my favorite one. Just like due to like how big of a win it was for like my friends and me overall. Like, I mean, yeah, definitely the dogger drop. That was probably like my most favorite trade that I've ever done. Even though it was like not the most in terms of like net P&L, it was like it definitely was like the most like kind of like emotional slash like awesome trade that we ever did. And dude, the crazier thing is if we just held like a couple cents worth of like Doge or whatever on all the or the dog token or whatever on all the wallets, then we would have gotten another airdrop after that airdrop like $6 a wallet on top of that. But unfortunately we sold them all, so it
Was
didn't
it
get too bad.
14,000 wallets you said?
13,000, yeah. It was like
Ugh.
this. It was another dog token called Kabosu or something on
Oh
base.
yeah, yeah.
Obviously, like probably wouldn't have had enough liquidity to actually sell into it, and it probably would have been diluted if we did do that. But I mean, yeah, it would have been pretty crazy nonetheless.
So are you a solo act or do you do this shit with a team?
Yeah, so I was a solo act for like quite a while. I have a lot of like friends and stuff now that I kind of made in crypto. I think that's like super super important. Like obviously, there's only so much research you can necessarily do yourself, and there is like quite a lot of people that will have different edges than you. So I think it's very important like talking to those different types of people, and kind of seeing what types of edge they have, and basically seeing like how you can use different types of edge, kind of seeing like what's going on in the market, how you can apply like what they're good at, and stuff like that overall. So I think that's like super important. As of right now, I do have a team. I have two fund employees and obviously like a developer team and stuff for Stream. I run a market neutral fund as well, like outside of Stream also.
Damn, I was gonna try to hire you after after the stream.
Base. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's kind of what's. I mean, it's so funny saying like stream on stream, but yeah, the protocol is called Stream, so it's like kind of have that same um like basically it's like yeah that's kind of what it's for basically to give retail access to like institutional level like market neutral returns effectively.
Can you please mansplain to me how you have never had a red month ever? I mean, that's like, what does that even mean?
um yeah, I mean just like being consistent on farming, managing like risk properly in terms of like smart contract risk, because like obviously there's risk in everything. Like there's if people tell you there's no risk in any type of thing, then they're absolutely lying to you. There's risk in everything. So it's managing like smart contract risk and uh managing like different risks regarding like different trades is like probably the most important thing. And just basically the best trades are in my opinion are the ones with like little to no risk, like very minimal risk, and like uncapped upside. Those usually tend to have the best like to be like the best trades, because effectively like even if the upside is like 20%, 10%, then you can still make that with like minimal drawdown. But sometimes like some of these things would go insanely well, and it's uh like Athena and like Usual, for example, were like stuff like that during like the liquidity provision period. Like for when they did a lot of deals, like I mean, in general, like there's a lot of stuff like that where it's like effectively a lot of these things will have like uncapped upside and like very little to no downside. And there's a lot of like very very good like well, I mean, there's not a lot, but if you can find trades like that, then those are usually like what are going to be best for you in terms of like just compounding like your portfolio over time.
So I wanted to ask you what's the biggest trade you're taking right now, but that probably fucks your edge outside of the
Well,
pre-IP.
yeah, I mean, dude, I'm just gonna say it. Like, it's Kraken right now. I hold quite a lot of like pre-IPO Kraken.
Okay, nice. Outside of the IPO stuff, what was the most recent like farm trade that you hit big on or made any money that even took? Like, I'm curious how you identify some of these trades. Like, what was the
Yeah, I
last
mean,
position you took?
there's, I mean, the last position. I mean, so since Stream has launched over the last like 4 months, I've manually done probably around like 25,000 or probably 5 months actually, but around 25,000 transactions. So it's very difficult to like say like what the exact last trade I did was or like farm I did was, because like I'm at any point in time I'm usually in like around like 50 different farms or so.
What?
Like overall, like in terms of Stream's book, like we have no more than 7% of like capital in one position at most. I think it's even less now. Actually, I think our max capital in per position is actually like sub 5% right now. And then we also have like an insurance fund to basically protect against like drawdowns in general in the event of like an exploit or something like that happening. Um, and yeah,
You're
I
in
mean it's
50.
very difficult to say basically.
I mean, bro, 25,000. it's like Cupsy mode. You're in 50 different positions, 50 different farms at once. I didn't even know there was 50
Well,
farms in crypto.
yes, but I think Cupsy does it with bots a lot of the time. Like I this is all manual. I'm
How,
usually on the computer like 8 to 10 hours a day or so, just like grinding shit out.
50 different farms at once. How do you even identify 50 different farms?
Yeah, I mean, I see everything in terms of like farming usually. I talk with everyone, see everything, and just basically try to be in anything that is good in general. And yeah,
That sounds insane to me.
if you check our DBank profile is Stream Finance on DBank, and basically users can kind of actively see like, I mean, this is like our main public wallet. We have a bunch of like alt wallets and stuff, obviously running like more so capital constrained stuff. And then we also have like some centralized exchange like HFT type strategies going. But we have like basically TradFi insurance on our centralized exchange exposure. So pretty much like if you look at the Stream Finance DBank, you can kind of basically see like all the different open positions, what's going on, what's where. And yeah, like our goal is to basically have majority of capital publicly visible on at any point in time, really. And then we also have like a centralized exchange tracking disk like dashboard as well. And then I think like roughly four of our alt wallets are public as well.
Jesus. Okay, so explain to me what I mean. You indirectly talked about it a bunch. Explain to me the thesis behind Stream and why you started it.
Yeah, so I mean the whole thesis behind Stream and like why I kind of got started with that is basically like I wanted retail to basically gain access to like institutional level returns at one click, while basically just like not having to necessarily take on a lot of that risk themselves or do a lot of that work themselves. Because like I've seen a lot of like retail and like a lot of like people I know basically. So before Stream, even like there was quite obviously I had a fund and stuff and was running the fund, but the thing is like my minimum ticket size for the fund was like 500K. So a lot of like retail basically, and a lot of like people I knew in real life, people I knew online. There was a lot of people that I know that wanted me to just like farm for them pretty much and like manage their capital. And basically like I didn't necessarily like I would have had to like run a lot of SMAs um like there would have been like basically it made more sense to like launch like a structured vehicle type of product for basically like retail to gain access to like these type of yields like at one click rather than basically like managing everyone's stuff like kind of separately and like having to like try to like explain to people what I do or like try to teach them what I do. It's like it's yeah it's yeah.
And how have the returns on Stream gone so far?
Yeah, I mean, since inception, we've paid out around like a 16% or so annualized like liquid return, like on average. And then obviously there's like the illiquid aspect of it, including like airdrops and stuff, which should be around like another like 3 to 4% average or so. Um, and that's on USD. Obviously, we have yield on ETH as well. I think the average ETH yield has been like around like 10% or so, and the average BTC yield has been around like 5 to 6 range. And those are the liquid yields, and then there's also like obviously future airdrop yields and stuff like that. And then Stream is also doing an airdrop, and we're launching a token as well.
Whoa, when? How do I get access?
Um, I'll keep you updated on that. But basically, we have like a back end points program type of thing going at the moment.
Whoa.
No points are publicly like visible yet. But basically like all the points are tracked and like kind of accrued on the back end right now, and pretty much like we're going to be doing like an airdrop to like all the users who are farming it pretty much. I
Word.
will say there's no point in like sibling it. So people like I was pronouncing it Sybil on the Taiki stream, and
People got mad
a
at you.
couple of people were just like, dude, you're like you farm this stuff like crazy, like how are you mispronouncing Sybil? But yeah, there's gonna be no point in sibling it. What's it called? Uh like it's gonna be like pretty TVL based for the most
Okay,
part.
okay. Tell me, like, okay, there's a lot of people in crypto, traders specifically, that have done really well and made seven figures that have it just sitting in stables. Like, what should people be doing with their large stable bags?
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's the point of stream. That's our whole thing. It's like just use stream. Basically, it makes it easy for you, diversifies among like all the best different farms, and then we also have like an insurance fund to kind of protect against drawdowns in that aspect. And then we also do like I negotiate with all these teams like in like one on one and get I try to get like custom liquidity provision deals and basically like the yield from that gets passed through down to like retail and stuff. And it's like I have like roughly 5 mil of my own capital in Stream as well.
Okay.
And then there's also like DeFi composability to it. We basically have like a stablecoin type of token. Like all the assets are like effectively tokenized vault products with DeFi composability built out on top of it. So we have like XUSD, XE, XBTC, and XEuro, and pretty much like they have DeFi like basically you can like borrow like stable coins like USDC against your XUSD and run like a loop on that or something. And there's like ideally we want to add as many integrations like in use cases as possible for that as well.
How focused? So you make market goes up, market goes down, you make money. How focused are you on where we are in the cycle and what majors are doing?
Yeah, I mean, in general, like I tend to not really like talk about like directional like stuff just because like that's not where my edge lies, and I feel like there's a lot better people to kind of like ask or talk about that than me per se. Like, um, yeah, in general, like I don't like to talk about things that I don't necessarily know or have like a detailed opinion on for the most part.
Makes sense. Um, Jesus, man. What? So if you
Like
had a,
I'm always market neutral. I've never been long or short ETH or BTC like outside of that first like buy. Like yeah.
that's crazy. You've never been long or short ETH or Bitcoin. What if
Yeah, I mean,
you?
I've never long or short. Like in terms of like if I'm like buying like meme coins or like different directional trades, it's like so like say like the liquidity pools in ETH, like a decent amount of the time, like I'll hedge out like the actual like liquidity pool asset on a lot of this stuff as well, just to like minimize like market volatility to some extent there.
If you had
But
to
sometimes it's not.
go ahead, go ahead, go
Sorry,
ahead.
keep
No,
going.
no, 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 no.
No, you got
Please,
it. But
please.
yeah, I was just gonna say sometimes it's not necessarily worth the cost of capital, like in terms of like hedging stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm trying not to. I've been using the word mansplain so much. I've like never said it before. I've said it 8 times during the stream. But if you had to like summarize what you think your edge is, why you're able to do what most people are not able to do in this vertical, as like high level as possible, what is it?
My biggest edge is that I'm chronically online. I'm just online a lot, and I try to talk to as many people as possible. And yeah, I mean, I'd say that's where my biggest edge lies, just in talking to as many people as possible, as many projects as possible, and just being like as online and like looking at this stuff as possible. Yeah, I mean, that's where the biggest edge lies, I'd say, for me.
Why did you start doing interviews?
Yeah, basically, the reason I started doing interviews is kind of just build up like brand awareness to some extent, like around Stream, because we have an amazing product. It's a really great product, and in general, like it's more so like smart money and like some institutional players, some smart money and stuff like that are kind of in it more so. Like there's like a few funds that are kind of like deployed into it and stuff as well. Um, and yeah, I mean, basically the goal is to kind of build up like more so like retail brand awareness around Stream for the most part, because it's like the whole target audience and the whole goal of like Stream is I want it to reach retail as much as possible, and to do that, like I kind of need to go on stuff like this in order to kind of attract retail for the most part, because it's like again, Stream's an amazing product, and like our target audience is retail for the most part.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna fucking hit you up after this. Tell me, like,
Yeah, that bro.
of people you could call out that play a similar game that you play, who is the best?
Um, I mean, there's a few people that I respect. Like obviously, I'm gonna say that like I consider myself to be like one of the best. I mean, I consider myself to be up there. Obviously, I don't want to sound like boastful, but
Valid.
obviously, like just like professional pride and stuff, to some extent. But I think Santisa is a really great follow on Twitter.
Santisa.
He manages like a lot of like basically he works at Spark now, handles a lot of like of the risk management side of stuff. Great guy, uh, good farmer, very great risk manager. I think he's a great follow on Twitter. Um, I think at Yield Farming, very smart guy, very good trader, slash like farmer. I think he's definitely worth a follow as well. Very very good guy. Um,
Word.
I think and there's one other guy. I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of like other guys, a lot of which aren't. I'm more so recommending people that are like vocal and active
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah,
Twitter
yeah.
more
Makes
so than
sense.
anything else, just because like that's what kind of gonna what's be like what's going to be like the most like applicable to users over like or people overall. I think Chud, he's got like Chud Plasma KOL on his Twitter. It's less so like retail digestible content and more so just like his takes on different stuff. But he's very very good farmer slash trader overall. Like him and yield farming are both like very 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 good. Santisa is definitely probably like one of the best at like managing risk overall. I'd say
Word.
because he's probably the most like risk averse person that I know in general, like in crypto. As in like I mean, yeah, it's like he really has to be if he's managing all of that stuff for
Yeah.
Spark. Very, very great hire by them, by the way. I think it makes a lot of sense in synergies.
Get that fucker on the stream after this. Hey, if you had to leak some alpha, you don't have to do it, but it'd be cool if you did.
Yeah, of course, man.
What do you think is the like most profitable or the best farm open right now that people should pay attention to?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm gonna say stream. Obviously, like
Word.
I think stream's gonna be, especially for one click. I think stream's like it's the best overall in terms of like EV. I'd say, especially in terms of like simplicity. Obviously, like I think Plasma was like an insanely like obviously Plasma was insanely good over that period of time as well. Like that was a insanely good farm. And I'd say Stream, yeah, those are probably obviously Plasma's passed, but those are probably two of the best you can farm.
Well, you're a fascinating guy.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm like into your whole thing. It's I don't know. There's just like not a lot of people that take your strategy, which is it's very. I don't want to. I don't know if it's necessarily like contrarian, but it's definitely going against the grain.
Yeah, no, definitely, dude. But I would say that like most like large institutions are actually doing like similar types of stuff. Like in terms of retail, I think most like retail and most of like Twitter attention in general is very focused on like trenching and like on all that stuff. But I'd say like institutional players are. I mean, obviously, like in terms of like market neutral institutional players, like there's quite a lot of capital in that. Like there's like billions of capital like looking for like market neutral returns, specifically in crypto as well. Um, and like as of right now, I manage around like 200 mil. Just like full transparency there. Like Stream has like roughly 160 mil of TVL at this point, and then I manage around like 33 ish under like the fund as well.
How are you gonna make $1 billion?
I mean, this is obviously first step to that. But goal is to scale Stream up to be insanely large. And like pretty much like we want to be like the best like multi-strat market neutral fund tokenized like on chain. And in general, we just want to be like as many places as possible. Like we're gonna be like integrated with like some centralized exchange based stuff, like some programs, some like apps and stuff like that. Basically, like we'll be like the driving yield for a lot of that stuff. So in general, the goal is basically try to scale up to be like as large of like a multi-strat market neutral fund as possible. Um, and then I mean, yeah, obviously just like continuing like with what I'm doing in terms of like trading strategy, and then I mean, yeah, like I think like my goal is like 100 mil at least before 30. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. So hopefully I can reach that.
100 mil before GTA 6.
Real,
Okay, give me
dude.
like Go ahead.
What 7 years now,
Dude, it's the worst.
something.
Um, do you game? Do you do anything other than crypto?
So I actually used to be a pro esports player at one
No
point.
way. What'd you play?
Mostly COD.
Okay, there's this theory
Um,
that if a pro esports player applies to work at your company, you just insta hire them. Is that true?
uh, I mean, not necessarily. But there's actually an insane correlation between like Minecraft players and like successful business owners actually, especially like people who own servers as like Minecraft players. Like it's actually pretty insane. Like especially in like the younger generation, it's
Uh-huh.
like super super massive correlation versus like general population. Um, yeah, like I'd say like if a Minecraft if somebody who was like a Minecraft player and like owned a server at one point, um, is like raising for like a VC investment, I'd say like it's gonna you probably have a lot percentage higher success rate than if you invested in someone that didn't like play Minecraft
Yeah,
slash own a Minecraft server.
that's awesome. How did you feel you did on this stream versus the Taiki?
Um, I'd say like definitely like got the chance to talk about a lot of like different stuff. I'd say I definitely did better on like the delivery overall. Like I think like it was very digestible for retail, I feel like. Uh
I try
I
to
do
like
think that there's
go
some
ahead, go
other
ahead.
I think there's some other stuff that like maybe we didn't like touch on per chance. But like yeah. But overall, I'd say that I probably did like honestly better on this than Taiki's, just because like Taiki was like kind of like the first like long form podcast type of
Yeah.
thing that I've ever done. So yeah, obviously like kind of lacked experience on that front. But overall, I'd say I did like pretty decent on it, but definitely could have done a lot better. And I do think that I did like better on this potentially, but I mean, I don't really know. I'm not like an expert at this type of thing.
Well, I think you did great. I was trying to like set you up with some like direct it well, but you gotta understand at the same time my mind is blown a little bit. So I'm kind of like I'm like trying to follow. I'm like googling shit at the same time. So I'm like doing my best to keep up
Yeah,
with you.
dude. To be blunt, like a lot of the stuff that I'm like talking about or saying, like it's not really stuff that's going to be necessarily found on Google as well. Like yeah,
And it's also not stuff like it's not stuff that people come on here and frequently talk about. So my domain knowledge on the farming stuff in particular is I mean obviously is not super well versed, but I
yeah. I
think
mean,
you
dude, it's not necessarily like your niche. But in general, like I'd say that like kind of like showing your audience like a different type of way to like make money in that aspect is definitely going to be like super beneficial.
dude, it was like extreme. I think you fucking fired some people up. Also, dude, you told me you watched some of the streams. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, I check up on like a lot. Like, obviously, I like I'm on like Twitter and stuff like that. I watch like the Ed and Ross stream and stuff like that and
Oh,
everything.
dude.
What's it called? Yeah, I mean, yeah. I watched like a decent amount of your streams. Like, I was on the Athena stream with
Oh, really?
yesterday. Yeah, yes, sir.
How'd you think that was?
No, I mean, I found it super interesting. In general, like I like to just like be as in the know about like everything going on as possible, and it's like I always like end phone calls and try to tell people like I'm basically always online like 24/7. So if you ever see anything interesting or ever want to talk in general, like just feel free to like hit me up or like shoot me a call anytime. So
I will, dude.
that's usually yeah, I bet.
Do you want to sign off on some advice? Because I don't know, your story is pretty inspiring. Give some advice because I asked you the question: how do you go from zero to eight figures, whatever? There's probably quite a few people in here that are at zero and that are going to take it literally and want to go to eight figures. You don't have to answer that question directly, but more so advice for how do you make it in crypto in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the biggest thing if you're starting off from zero is like obviously get a job, but uh, like in general, I think like also applying like in general like life advice is going to be what's like going to be the biggest driver of like success overall in crypto is like definitely try to live below your means. That way you have more money, like more disposable income to like invest overall and try to like kind of make money with. So live below your means. Don't gamble. Like don't just like throw away your money willy nilly. Try to find like as positive EV stuff as you can, and basically try to capitalize on that edge. And obviously like manage risk in that aspect. Um, and just work as hard as you can, really. And if you stick to something long enough, and basically like um, don't try to focus on like many things, but try to like basically rather than like digging many holes, try to just dig continually down in one hole until like you reach water effectively. Um, is what's going to be a bigger driver of success in like any industry overall than if you are to just like try like fuck tons of things like willy nilly. Obviously, like trying if you're young though, I mean it's a little bit of a different story. Like basically, like you can if you want to find something that you enjoy or something that you really like, definitely try out as many things as possible. But don't be disappointed and don't take it to heart if you don't succeed because like you're not like yeah
That was beautiful.
like appreciate it,
It
man.
was. Okay, last question because selfish question, and you might not have much of a take on it. It's completely fine if you don't. But where do you think this crypto media stuff goes? Internet finance, internet markets, media.
Yeah, I mean, dude, to be honest, like I have no idea. Like in general, like I think like kind of like culture in general, like I feel like a lot of like especially younger audience are like very prone to like trying to be involved with like financial markets in general. I mean, like you see these guys like Brez Scales, TJR Trades, like all these like course selling guys, like basically popping up on like social media and effectively like they're trying to sell a course and like that's how they make their money. Like they're not real traders. I'm just gonna like say that. I mean, some people might disagree, some people might get pissed at that, but just objectively, like they're course sellers. Like same with like ICT. Sorry, all the ICT fanboys. Like in general, I think like there's gonna be, especially with younger audiences, like there's a lot of like impressionable young people that are basically being consuming a lot of like trading related content in general across like social media and like lifestyle content. And there's going to be a lot of people that want to like try to like emulate that to some extent. So I think in general, like there's going to be definitely like people that are very interested in like trading media overall, and are going to like consume trading content. And especially as that audience ages and wants to like find more stuff that kind of gives them like an edge or consume like more advanced content, there's definitely going to be like a lot of like I'd say overall like the interest in that type of field is probably going to trend upwards, just like overall, from what I would say. Because like you don't see like the same like the generation above us like being active on like Discord and like trading discords and like buying courses and stuff like that, and it's like basically like all the younger kids and stuff like that they're kind of like being brought up into that, older population's aging out, and then the current population of people that kind of grew up in that are kind of still like in that type of thing, like buying like these courses, like consuming trading related content. So I would say that like the niche is definitely probably going to grow, in my opinion.
Banger, I love to hear that. And I don't know, I don't think what you said were hot takes. But man, this was sick, man. Thanks for coming on, dude. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, dude, it was yeah, super great. Yeah, definitely like easy flowing conversation overall, which was super good.
Well, I wanted to make it easy for you and just let you fucking talk about. I wanted to just shut up and let you talk, which I think you got an opportunity to do.
Yeah, bro. Sorry if I was yapping, but
You can't.
yeah,
I brought
I
you on
also
here to
like,
yap. I mean, come on.
dude, it also feels weird like giving advice, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like I definitely think there's a lot better people that are like suited to give like advice overall than me. So it's like a little bit weird telling people advice to some extent. Like, but yeah,
Nah,
I definitely think like that advice like that I gave in terms of like living below your means and like kind of applying like that other stuff is like definitely gonna be super helpful for people that are like just getting started.
hey, keep me in the loop when you get closer to like TGE and points, and you have some more stuff you want to talk
Yeah, no, of
about.
course,
Come
dude.
back on. Come back on,
Yeah, of course, would love to, man. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
dude. Of course. Yeah, this was sick. I don't know. We could go forever, but I'll let you go. We'll save some for part two. But yeah, man, honestly, it was awesome. Law,
Yeah, I bet.
you're great, dude. I'm happy we crossed paths.
Yeah, no, dude, same, likewise. Yeah, super glad. Thanks for having me on, man.
Of course, brother. Have a good one, man. Talk soon.
You too.
Peace.
Take care, man. Peace.